Hey everybody, the Real Late Show with Chris and Craig. I'm Chris. That's Craig. Craig, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you, Chris?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Lots of off-topic stuff to talk about,
Yeah.
but hey, no one's interested. I
The
mean,
show
we should,
behind the show.
yeah, and it would be more fun probably for you and I if we released it, but no one else cares. It would be strictly for you and me, which
Yeah.
isn't good. We gotta get other people interested. So, forget the stuff we talked about off air. Let's talk about something that's interesting.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Golden Bachelorette yet?
I have not watched it, but I have seen bits and pieces and heard of it. So I'm familiar.
Well, you know how it is. We're in the breaking news business with our journalism. I think I told you for season one, there was a woman originally from the Youngstown area, and I was covering Youngstown at the time. So we got excited, and I had a reporter covering it. So Craig, I didn't have to cover week in, week out, but I kind of plugged in. It was kind of neat. I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
It was fun. Kind of sad at times. I lost my dad. I don't think my mom's ever going to get remarried, but my mother-in-law passed, and my father-in-law got remarried. So it was interesting. Yes, it's a goofy dating reality show, and my parents or my wife's parents never went on a show like that. But it did bring up some issues of loss and everything, and I don't know. It was kind of a nice show to identify with, and people weren't as crazy on the Golden Bachelorette as you would see on the Bachelorette.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes you got the 20 somethings that are yelling and screaming at each other.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
So they had, I think this girl placed third or fourth on the Golden Bachelor, and they usually pick a runner-up to compete in the Golden Bachelorette. So we've got this girl that's on the Golden Bachelorette. So it naturally comes up. Well, who could we get on the future Golden Bachelorette? And I thought this was kind of a cool idea. Martha Stewart. And apparently, this is funny. Andy Cohen, who's obviously the big celebrity interviewer,
Yeah.
Martha Stewart was on with Snoop Dogg, and Andy Cohen said, "Hey, are you going to go on the show?" And she says, "Absolutely not." Cohen said, "Hey, would you do it for the money?" And Martha Stewart says, "Hey, the guys aren't hot enough."
Okay.
Now, Craig, I have a hard time telling what guys are hot or not. But come on, Martha Stewart. I mean, can't she? Is Martha Stewart too hot for the Golden Bachelorette? I guess that's a big question.
Yeah. Reading this story, I kind of wonder how this all came about, because I wonder if this is a PR tool for Martha Stewart's team to get her out in the spotlight more. Where, hey, there's something that's mildly popular on TV. Let's say that Martha Stewart would never go on the Golden Bachelor because the men aren't good looking enough, or she wouldn't she wouldn't do it for the money. I think she even said she wouldn't do it for $10 million an episode, which I highly, highly doubt she would deny that if she could do however many episodes they end up doing and get paid $10 million, per episode. So I feel like this is like somebody pitched this as a potential topic, even though I would think that she's probably never been approached by ABC to do this. I think this was her team kind of dredging up some interest, not interest in that show necessarily, but getting her name out there, because now you have a story written about Martha Stewart, and maybe if she and the others were talking about something else, they wouldn't care to pick up a story. But here you go, Golden Bachelorette. Would you do it? No. What about if it's a $10 million pop per episode? No, I would not do it. They're not good looking enough. I just think that's, another cog in the machine to try to get more publicity and more interest in her. And that's good for her. I mean, I get why celebrities and people do that, but so often we see these stories that come up that make no sense. Even if they seem relevant, they're not really needed. And I think it's just people working behind the scenes to get their star back out in the spotlight. And this kind of reminds me of one of those types of stories where it could be a lot of times you see people talking about movies that they passed on or didn't like or whatever that, came out or whatever 15 years ago. And it just seems like it's really pointless. And this is another one of those where, if you don't want to do it, then don't say anything about it. Who cares? Like, it's not like, you got to remember too, the wording is interesting here. She didn't say that she was approached and rejected. She just said she wouldn't do it.
Well, I think here's all that happened. Martha's got a doc on Netflix coming out soon.
Right.
So that's her peg to be on the show. Andy Cohen gets revved up. Andy Cohen wants to ask you about your love life. And I think Martha, part of her shtick now is, she was this, home decorator and everything, but now she's got a little bit of I don't know what you want to say about it, like a cougar side or something, or a what do you call it? Yeah, a cougar, an older lady likes the younger men and everything, And I think Andy Cohen, he wants to kind of ratchet up that talk. So he's like, hey, Martha, go on the Golden Bachelorette. So, you know what I think should happen, Craig, to be honest with you? These shows, you get the, what do you call it? The heartwarming story. Like the first guy that was on Golden Bachelor, he lost his wife. He's trying to find his new person. Right. The Golden Bachelorette, it was a girl that had to leave the show after a couple weeks due to family emergency. The guy who was Golden Bachelor was really upset. I think he was really looking at choosing her, but she had to leave the show, so they wanted to bring her back to say, "Hey, here's your chance now." I think we need to have a minor celebrity on The Bachelor, the Golden Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and the Golden Bachelorette. Right. I think if we do that, it'll make the show a lot more interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad idea. And obviously, you had Jesse Palmer once did The Bachelor, former NFL quarterback, and I think the thing about those shows is I think people care about them in the sense of they like the drama. I think by now we've learned that 90% of these relationships end up failing, so people aren't really like the hopeless romantic of watching it. I think they're more so interested in any kind of drama that comes out of it, and maybe they get wrapped up into it a little bit, but at the end of the day, most of these relationships end up failing anyway. So I think people kind of just watch it for the entertainment value as opposed to hoping that these people fall in love and find their soulmates.
Well, and if you think about it too, the Golden Bachelorette, I think it's on like 8 episodes a year or something.
Okay.
Well, if you're a minor celebrity that wants to get back in the news, okay, now you've got 8 hours of primetime TV. Okay. Yeah. And if you find love, great. If you don't, who cares? You know what I mean? Like the Golden Bachelor pretty much divorced because they couldn't figure out where they're going to live, So, it's not like Martha Stewart's pot committed to finding her new husband on that show. Maybe if Martha Stewart's got a documentary on Netflix, maybe she's too famous, but get some other random, grade B or grade C celebrity. And the hope is, if they go on a show like that, now they get a little bit more famous. And I think that makes the show a little bit more watchable. Yeah, you can find some schlub that has a sad story that hopefully America will identify with. But I'm actually a little bit more geeked up about saying, hey, this is somebody I've heard of before. I wonder what it would take to attract a Martha Stewart or some random dude celebrity, or something like that. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I watched the show. Oh, man, this may have been a little before your time. This is going to show my age a little bit. About 20 years ago, they had a reality show called Rockstar in Excess. So what happened, Michael Hutchins, he had an awful death. So In Excess was like, we want a new lead singer. So they had kind of like American Idol style show where you had singers compete to be the next singer on Rockstar of the band In Excess. Yeah. And to me, that was 100 times more interesting than American Idol, because American Idol, you're like, okay, who's going to be the next pop star? Here, you're like, wow, here's this existing band which person's going to become that lead singer.
Right.
Now, the guy who won was on for a year or two, and the band kicked him off, which makes sense. But to me, it just adds more interest, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I think people would have a little bit of interest. And it's kind of like the Dancing with the Stars effect. You get some of these minor celebrities or B or C celebrities or the flavor of the month athletes, that come in and perform. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to try to capitalize that and finding love for them.
So we talked the other week about, what's the Carl Winslow? What was it? Roland Van Del Johnson? Reginald, yeah. So would we have Reginald as a Golden Bachelor or something?
Well, I mean, if he's single, maybe.
Yeah. I think it would be kind of intriguing. I don't know. Because right now, it took a lot. It took the fact that it was somebody in the area I covered to be on the show for me to be interested in watching that. And that's not going to be the case. And right now, I'm not covering an area, so I'm probably not going to watch that. So, make it worth my while, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. Makes sense.
Should be good. Is there any guys? So, Martha Stewart, I think, come on, Martha, take another look at this. The guys are not hot enough. I mean, good night. They can find hotter men. I mean, come on. How picky is Martha Stewart,
I don't know. Maybe she likes the younger generation, but I'm sure that they could cater their group of men for her, I would think.
Okay, so, and that's a good point. So let's say for the celebrities, no age limits. You know what I mean? If we bring out a bunch of 20...
I think we want to have some age limits, Chris. I will say.
Well, right. We don't want like 10-year-olds, but I'm saying okay, Martha's getting up in age. Yep. Let's bring out the 25 hot, stud guys out there. Okay. I mean, we have to have some age. Obviously, we got to follow the law and everything. Yeah. But I mean, I think, and wouldn't that be funny? I mean, you have, a bunch of...
you'd give her a variety and she'd be able to, maybe she would fall in love with someone her own age or a couple of years older. Who knows? You never know.
Oh, how compelling that be? You would have like an 80-year-old dude. You have like a 25-year-old like beach body stud. I mean, and good night. Even if you're not into the shows, you would watch it and say, I wonder who Martha Stewart would like. Is it somebody her age or not? I mean, it could almost be like a sociology show or something. It'd be really fascinating. So, let's see. Is there anybody? Yeah, let's all have politicians on there. Like, I don't want Donald Trump to ever be on that show or something like that. That would be too weird. So, I don't know. Yeah, we're about ready for the election. Are you ready for it to be over?
I am. I'm always ready for the elections to be over.
13, as of the time we're taping this, 13 days. It's going to be weird. I'm so sick of hearing about it, but I think I'm going to be missing something once it's finally over. And who knows?
Yeah.
The way elections are going, we probably won't even know the answer for another year or two on who wins or loses or when it's out of the courts. So, all right. Well, hey, keep checking out our show. Thank you for all the responses. I've been seeing comments on YouTube. Really appreciate them. Again, we're trying to get a lot of different types of content out there. Mostly our sweet spot is pop culture, entertainment, sports talk, but we have a guy interested in Ohio news. So we've seen some Ohio news. Craig, I don't know if I told you this, Randy Ludlow was on our show.
Okay.
Former Columbus Dispatch reporter, and he's reporting now for Ohio Capital Journal. Okay. So he came on and he gave some takes about the upcoming election stuff. Again, we used to be 100% that. I don't want to get that a little bit, but I know some people are interested in that. So we want to have a little bit of coverage of that. But our sweet spot definitely is the pop culture and sports and other stuff like that. So for Craig, this is Chris. Have a great night.